want to record. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about just listing presentations. So there's kind of a lot that goes into this this conversation. Not only is it the actual listing presentation that we have a hard copy that we can send prior to going to a listing, bring to a listing, leave behind. You know, it's the thought process that goes into it. It's being prepared. It's practicing your your speech, your value prop, and just knowing it so that we don't walk into a listing. Look, we all have listings that, I've had 5 listings this year. I did not need to, I didn't even have a listing presentation with me because it just is that kind of situation. So, so we all have those, but I've also gone into listing presentations, and we all have that. We need to be prepared. We need, they're going to ask questions. They're interviewing other agents. So we just need to be prepared for those situations so that we, are able to answer their questions, show our value prop, and, obviously get the listing. So I'm going to actually just go through some slides today. So obviously, kind of self-explanatory for us, but we do have some new folks, so I kind of want to go through this whole thing. But the purpose of a listing presentation is to showcase the agent's qualifications, expertise, marketing strategies, and the services they provide to help sell property. So that's what, when we actually, show up at a seller's property, whether we know them or not, we need to be prepared to, talk about these things, show our value, what are we going to do to sell it, the whole 9 yards. So it's kind of the thought process behind this, really this whole presentation is just being prepared for that. And as always, if there's any questions, please just unmute yourself or share any thoughts along the way. But of course, it is being recorded. So what can a listing presentation do for you? So really there's, I just listed a few things here, and I really need us to think along the lines of us showing up at that seller's property that we haven't met, we don't know them. Maybe it was a referral. Maybe they just, they just found us, but we don't know them. They don't know us. Maybe maybe they know, okay, so Wayne's been a list, I've seen him, I've seen his signs around, that kind of thing, but they really don't know us and fully trust us. So, what's going to be in our listing presentation? So the first thing is we establish credibility. So pretty plain and simple, but just, who do you work for? What do you do? How long have you been doing this? What else have you sold? And sometimes, hey, we're new agents, and it's not as, it's not quite like, hey, I've sold 5 properties. But I've been asked, like, how many $700,000 properties have you sold? Or things like that. So again, we just need to be, just aware that we could come into some objections, and we need to just be able to handle those. And if you're new, something I always said was, well, geez, I got a whole team with me that has sold, they sell 700,000 every day, and they're just part of my team, so use the rest of the office essentially to just be on your team. I guess if you do get an objection that, okay, I haven't sold a $700,000 property. So and I don't want that to discredit me from being able to help you. But just, establishing that credibility, actually having some info and your value prop on paper. Second thing, setting expectations. So a lot of these sort of overlap, but really, when you're sitting in front of them and you have it on paper about what you do, how you work, what you do for a listing, how many photos you take, just everything, sort of in a presentation that they can physically see. You're not, I know agents that don't have listing presentations. I know that they've walked in there and they just, well, I take 30 photos. I do this, and really just winging it. And, we're quite frankly, we're seeing more and more sellers that are needing more. So us being prepared with a presentation will set ourselves up for years to come. So, but setting expectations is one. Just showing commitment, really just the idea that, that you prepared this presentation, that it, you're not just winging it, going slide by slide. You actually prepare this. You know what you do. You have all your value prop and you actually do it. So, so just really just showing them the commitment at that point. So providing market data, this is kind of a no-brainer, but we may or may not have done a CMA at this point. We might be just getting there. Maybe we're meeting them for the first time and they're saying, "Hey, we're thinking about it." So, but in your presentation, it is good to provide market data. If we don't know the house, hey, what's the market doing in Lakewood? Just in general, how many homes have sold in the last 6 months? How many are on the market? What's the sale to listing price to sale price percentage? Just any data we can give them, it's going to start showing. This one will lead to our credibility. It'll show that we're committed, that we actually know the market. We're an expert in the market. But any data that you can provide, both, and you'll see, I have just a sample. It's almost, I have a sample listing presentation, but there's a page in there like, hey, what are my current listings? What have I sold? Plus, there's space for just current market data, whether it's on a zip code, whether the home and it's on $300,000 homes, anything like that. So just kind of think about that when you're, putting your presentation together. And just, kind of a side note, just know that your listing presentation could, maybe not always, if you did Chautauqua County data, hey, this is how many, homes sold, and you go listing to listing in Chautauqua County, that's cool. But if you have a page in there about Lakewood market data, this is what's happening in Lakewood, because obviously you're going to look at a house in Lakewood to potentially list. Well, if your next appointment's in Chautauqua, you're gonna need to update that. So just kind of pay attention. We don't need to update this like every day or maybe not even every month, but if we have specific data, whether it's dates or whatever, we know that we are going to have to update it. We're going to have to update it, whether we go to a different location, whether we put 2023 data in there and now we're finishing 2024. Well, we're going to have to update some info. So it's just a matter of if you update it every time you go to a listing presentation, or 6 months or once a year, but just kind of know, the fact is we're going to have to look at it periodically and make sure we're up to date with what we're presenting. So just addressing concerns. So you go into a listing presentation, what concerns are they going to have? The market, inventory, price, the interest rates, just anything. So whatever you can kind of head off the concerns, the objection handling in your presentation, ideally you are answering questions they have during your presentation. So in the end, where they may have had, hey, we got 5 questions to ask, like, and this is crucial for us. Ideally you've answered as many or all of those concerns. So you get done and they're like, man, like we had questions and you kind of just knew. And again, that's just, that's setting you up to be the market expert, to be able to list their home and actually sell it, if we can head off those objections before they even ask them. So just kind of think anything we can put in there as a page in our listing presentation, more info, the better. So building relationships, quite frankly, if kind of mentioned earlier, if I go into a listing presentation and it's me in my mouth and I'm just talking, like when I have a piece of paper that maybe I've sent them prior, or even on an iPad, I just have something that I've actually built, and we're talking and I'm listening throughout this whole presentation. We're building relationship. I'm answering their questions. They're like, that's great. I'm building trust with them as I go through this presentation. They're gonna know what I do to, what I will do to help sell their home. Anything I can do throughout the presentation, I'm building the relationship. So just kind of think about that all the way through. So again, when I said it first thing, this is way more than just kind of throwing stuff on paper and just, it's not just I take 20 pictures, I put it in the MLS, I do some social, whatever, all the way down through. It's, it's a lot more, kind of based on the idea that, this is someone that we're gonna need to get to trust us, so they actually sign that 6-month, 1-year commitment, and trust me to sell their home. And last one, just in this presentation, is just demonstrating expertise. So I kind of talked about it throughout, but this is the ideal situation for them to just build all the trust in the world with you through your presentation as you talk about what you do, how you do it, what the market is sort of saying. Hey, it may just take us longer to sell. Like, it just might. I don't, it just depends. There's 5 other homes similar to yours on the market, all the way through. But every time we have a conversation that we've done some homework on, we're going to be the market expert in their eyes a little more each time. So that's kind of the key as we go through this, is just, just building that trust, just one step at a time, every page at a time, in the idea of being prepared with it. So put it together, and we need to practice it. We need to role play it with someone. We need to, do whatever we can, so that when you get to the next page in your presentation, you're starting to talk. You don't need to look at the page and go, oh, gee, this is what marketing I do, and then stop and think, even if it's for 10 seconds. We don't want to do it. We just want to flip the page and go, and for marketing, I, do that. So just kind of think about that as we're putting together a presentation. And if you have one, and I'm looking on this screen, I know you guys have some, it might be a matter of just going back through and making sure, hey, is mine really, really good, that if I walk in and don't know a person and they're interviewing 2 other agents, so I'm one of 3, and all of that, can I really get this listing, or should I do some work to my presentation, practice it more, whatever, to be able to get the listing, every time, ideally, but obviously we know that doesn't always happen. So that's just kind of the ideas behind a listing presentation, more than just stuff on paper. A lot of work can go into it, and that'll help us when we get in front of that seller. So how to create a knockout listing presentation in 5 steps. So really, we need to know the market. So if we're going to a house, we need to know as much about the market as possible. So if it's in Lakewood and we know that it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2,000 square foot, whatever the data is, we may not know everything about it. We might not know if they, at the point we go, that, maybe the kitchen's old, or maybe they just redid it. Maybe the bathrooms, so we don't know everything, but we really need to be prepared with as much data as we have. And then, of course, when we meet with them and start seeing the home, we tweak it. But kind of going in blind, going, well, I wanted to, I think I know I've done this, where I've gone in the house and said, well, I really wanted to see the house. Now I'm going to go do some research. I can remember I probably got away with it, but now it'd be like, I need to know, a lot before I go in. Then I'm just going to tweak it, not kind of put it together after I see the house. So prepare a pricing strategy. So obviously, kind of along the same lines as market data. Obviously, when we do the market research, it's going to get us to a pricing, strategy. So, but but it's also not as simple as, and we know it's not as simple as, well, it's 300,000. So you can build a little strategy where, well, I'm thinking 300, it's kind of what the market's telling us, but are you super motivated? Would you care if it sat on the market for 3 months? Not that we want to say that, but we kind of developed that talk track that, well, maybe we should price it at 290, and be really hot on the market. Or if we price it at 310 or 315, whatever, then we got to know, like, hey, okay, so we're on the higher end. So I just need you to know that, we might be on the market a little bit longer, or we might need a price reduction. But if we want to, sort of try it there, what's the strategy to eventually price it that it'll sell, whether it's a price reduction or we just, kind of sit on the market an extra 30 days, something like that. So it's more than just kind of a certain number. So I kind of say it's a range, and there's reasons for the lower range and there's reasons for the higher range. Third thing, prepare your pitch. So really, this is the homework part. This is really where that you're confident in what you're going to say. You're confident in you're confident in your ability to actually list the property and sell it. That, you're confident that you're actually going to take the pictures you say, that you're going to do the marketing you're going to do, you're going to send the postcards, whatever your pitch is. It's more than a 30-second elevator pitch, but in reality, it's just as important. I have one shot when I'm in front of this person that, in the case we're kind of using, doesn't know me, kind of heard about me, maybe was referred to me, but is waiting for me to be prepared enough to get them to trust me to list their home. So it's a lot more than just, knowing numbers, or, being able to say, hey, I've sold 3 other $700,000 homes, that type of thing. It's a little bit more than that. So obviously update your listing presentations. We kind of talked about that, but it is important. It is important that, whether it's dates that need to be updating, what's happening in the market, involving higher interest rates as a conversation, involving, low inventory, high inventory, everything's different. So, we really should be aware of what's in our presentation, especially if we're going to sometimes need to go sort of page by page. We're going to get in front of that seller that's like, just, one seller is going to be like, okay, like, I'm good, whatever. And then one seller is just going to be like on the edge of his seat going, all right, what you got next? And it's like page after page. So, so having as much current data obviously is crucial. And the last thing, prepare for your listing appointment. So now it's, now we kind of have it all together. I know my pitch, but it's literally practicing before you go your listing presentation. Whether there's someone across from you that you're going to practice with, or you're in front of a mirror, I promise you that it'll be valuable for you to practice it. Like, just, pause, ask a question, pause if they're saying something. Listening is a big part of a listing presentation. It's not just us, spewing stuff. So just kind of know that, but I promise you, actually practicing it will be so valuable for you. Some of us have done it for 15 years, but if I change it, if I update it, if I'm tweaking it, I still want to take a little time to practice it, just so that I'm not, kind of in a habit of doing it a certain way. And then, quite frankly, we have to be able to adjust as well. So if I got a seller that's antsy, I better get to the good stuff, because I might be losing him. And then if I have a seller that's, literally just waiting for the next page to see what else I got, then I got to be prepared to keep going. So that's another piece that, just is valuable for us if we're preparing, if we're actually practicing, we're thinking about, hey, what could happen? So the next step, how to crush your listing appointment in 10 steps. So kind of, sort of this, kind of revisiting each piece, but just showing how important the whole piece is, and then practicing. But set the stage for success. Quite frankly, that's actually just having the listing appointment, so, and having the listing presentation. So so actually getting an appointment and having a presentation that you have worked on and you're prepared to deliver is number one. But really actively listen. I've seen agents, I've practiced with agents, that just talk like, and the seller's just sitting there, just, whether they're getting feature dumped and they're getting sort of drowned with like blah, 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 and their mind is wandering. We have to remember this is their home. This is their largest investment. They could have been in this home for 20 years and raised a family, and it's they're stressed about selling. We got to let them talk. We got to listen to them. So, often it's say something, go through a page, pause, or, hey, do you have any questions? And then let them go. If they're gonna spew for 5 minutes or object or whatever, let them do it. And, hopefully we're either prepared to handle an objection, or, the conversation might go in a different direction. But actively listening, obviously important. Be honest and authentic. So, I mean, obviously I think it's, it's no brainer, but at the same time, I can't say that house is going to sell. I could think like, I think we're going to list, we're getting an offer the first couple days, or I think we're going to get over asking, or, this is the best, but we really, like, it's our job just to be honest, authentic, like, let them learn who I am. This is who I am. So, whether you show up in a listing appointment in a suit, or you show up in shorts and a t-shirt, it's who I am. I've always said, how I dress doesn't always. Sometimes I dress nice to go because it's, that's appointment or that house or that client. But if I show up in shorts and a t-shirt, I still work my butt off for you, and I still do everything, but it's who I am. So it's just, there's a piece to that. There's a piece that can be valuable, but just talk the way you talk, be who you are, and just be honest throughout the whole thing. But having, being prepared, and then just generally working hard, if you get the job, it'll all fall into place anyway. Conduct a needs analysis. So this is basically, we're in front of them, like, why are you selling? Do you need to sell? You just think you want, you're ready to sell, but you don't need to sell in a week. Do you need to sell in a week? Do you need a certain amount? Are you looking to upsize, downsize? You moving south? What's happening with you? So it'll help us determine, if they're at 320 and they really just don't care if they sell, like, well, if we don't sell, it's fine. Like, all right, so we're way above what I would want to list at. Do I really need a listing that might not sell? But again, just kind of knowing, what they're in it for, it can adjust our talk track as well. We can, focus on certain parts of our listing presentation. If they're stressing about selling and nervous about selling, or nervous about a commitment and really just don't want to sell because they love the house but know they need to, just knowing exactly what's happening with them will, sort of direct our talk track. So demonstrate your value, obviously have gone through that, but who you are, who you work for, that you have a team at Real Estate Advantage that is right by your side the whole time. Anything you ever need, they're always there. And then, of course, demonstrating value. If you've been around a while and sold a bunch of properties in Lakewood, or whatever, but demonstrating the value is also, just a piece of being a market expert, which leads us into the next one: share your market analysis. So, you've done the homework. Maybe they've seen the CMA, maybe you've emailed it to them, but kind of going through the market analysis, just is a great time for you to show that the market. I know what's happening in Lakewood. I could have not ever sold a house in Lakewood. Like, yeah, I've never sold a house in Lakewood. I don't know what to tell you, but I know what's happening. I know how to price this properly, and then my marketing will all, get the property sold. So just there's a lot in just showing that you actually know the market. Next piece, present your marketing strategy. So again, it's days are gone where we put the listing in the MLS. I mean, obviously it still happens because we all see some listings in the MLS that may make our head shake and wonder how someone got listed as an agent or got got licensed as an agent. But the marketing strategy is more than, I'm going to take some pictures, put it in the MLS. Someone's going to, someone will sell it. Another agent will sell it. It's way more than that. So it involves, social media now, professional pictures, of course, the MLS, the whole online strategy, maybe direct mail, maybe just listed, just sold, whatever. But you have a marketing strategy. You need one, whatever it is, whatever that is. It could not involve pieces of that, but you need to have that marketing strategy so that we can actually show what we're going to do. I'm not going to get paid 6% or whatever, and just take some pictures and put it in the MLS. I'm going to do a lot more for you. I'm going to do a lot more to get the highest price I can for you, all of that. So that's all part of your marketing strategy. So then we actually, kind of did the market analysis, talked about how we're going to sell it. Now we're going to actually discuss the pricing strategy. So we're kind of, at the listing appointment, we've gone through our presentation in this piece. Now we're going to, talk price, and of course, hey, I'm at 300, and you got to be ready to objection handle at this point, almost 100%. We've all walked in and they're like, well, I trust you or whatever. But then someone else is like, well, my neighbor's house sold for, 320. Like, why can't we list there? Or, whatever. So we just got to be, just prepared to talk pricing. And again, this will have a big chunk to do with their needs analysis. So, it's going to tell us a lot when we discuss that needs analysis. And it's going to tell us a lot when we start talking price strategy. In us actually, wanting the deal, wanting the listing, or literally maybe saying no, or if they're higher, getting them to realize, in 30 days, we're going to do a price reduction. If I'm going to take the listing, we're going to do a price reduction. If you want to be at 325 and we really should be starting at 3, that type of deal. But discussing that, we definitely need to be prepared for some objections. And then last two, reiterate your value prop. So really, just what you're going to do for them, that, show that you're that market expert that knows what's happening, that, at this point, somewhere through here, you could have talked about, a few things to do around the house, like, hey, we're going to declutter, we're going to stage a little bit. I'm not usually one to say paint a room, because who wants a purple room? But maybe the next person wants a purple room. But I think we should paint that room. You're showing that value prop. You're showing what it. Hey, I'm everything I do is 100% to get you the house sold for the most amount of money I can. That's my job. So in the end, I need to reiterate that, and hopefully I've done that throughout my presentation, and maybe throughout checking the house out, getting familiar with it. And then close the deal. Obviously, having a presentation or a contract with you is sort of the ideal thing. But or getting them to commit, like, and then saying, hey, I'm going to email you the contract, the listing contract to sign, in an hour. Like, my fear is, I'll mail it, I'll email you the listing contract tomorrow. We'll get it signed, and, and then whatever, somebody else talks to them. They, somebody says, oh, I got another agent you should talk to. I want the thing, agreed on and signed as soon as possible. So just kind of getting to closing the deal. So So this is just a very sample, just a sample listing presentation, but I just kind of wanted to show you one. It's probably, I don't even know. We'll see. I think it's maybe 20 pages long, but it really just kind of covers the pieces that I, mentioned as being important. So if you have one, this is kind of where you're just going to go through yours and just kind of make sure you're truly happy with it. But I'm just going to kind of show you a sample one. So ideally, if you just swing by the house, even if you haven't been in it, I'm going to swing by 123 Main Street and I'm going to snap a picture of the outside. So I think we've probably all had this happen, but I definitely have, where in something I'm either showing them or have emailed them, like they're like a current picture is actually a part of it. I almost always get oh wow, like you got a picture of our house. I didn't go online. I didn't go to the public records and just snap one. I just went by the house, quick snapped a picture, and it's part of my presentation. I went an extra mile. I drove to the house, snapped a picture. It's not the end of, it's not the biggest thing in the world to me, but to them, that's an extra step you took to start earning their trust. So that's just kind of the first page. Second page is really just start of sort of educating them on just selling a home. So, and I can share this with you because some of these slides are really good, but just discussing it. It's not me coming over, us signing contract, me putting in the MLS and put a sign in the yard. There's a lot that goes into this. So this is showing that you're more than just a sign in the yard listing in the MLS agent. Like, I know there's a lot more to it. This is part of, us discussing how I can help you in getting you prepared to actually sell, when we do. So just, this is kind of their, why are they selling? What's the timing? What's important? So, this is very important for us to gauge them on, geez, are they going to be, sticklers on price? Is price the most important? Is timing? Is, they just want everything to go nice and easy? Why are they selling? Well, we need to move. We need a bigger place. We need a smaller place, or we would like, or, well, I mean, so, when we have this conversation, so obviously this looks weird. This is just designed to, uh, to just put in your text or whatever. So that's kind of why it looks Spanish or whatever. But, so why timing important? So again, this is, we can have this presentation going and then pause a slide like this and have this conversation, or we've had this conversation and now I'm doing my presentation and I actually have their info in this. Like, why are you selling? Well, because you want to move to be closer to your kids down south. You told me that. I actually put it in our presentation. So, so it's either let's have this conversation now, or, hey, we've had it. I kind of know what you're doing, but, here's some of it, but let's talk about it a bit more. So, this is sort of what you do, how, value propping yourself, communication. Hey, I'm going to call you. We're going to communicate at least twice a week, even if nothing's going on. This is the marketing I do. Just again, just any info that we can put into this presentation to show our value, to show why, we're, quite frankly, that, we're better than the next agent you're going to interview. Like, you got to hire me because this is everything that I do. That, I'm thinking more than, getting some info, taking some pictures, put it in the MLS, put a sign in the yard. Can't stress that enough. I'm way more than that in this presentation. Our listing presentation is designed to show them that. So just, always have a page, this, your name, obviously, current headshot, in whatever stats you have. So, again, if you're a newer agent, please put stats, do some sort of stats, but do, hey, this is what my company has done. This is how many my company has sold in, in Lakewood, or in, whatever, or in a certain time frame. We always have stats that, that we can put in here. It's just, it obviously is just different for each person, but whatever you do on here, this is a page where, they get to learn a little bit more about you. And of course, it talks about an agent bio. I'm pretty sure I've talked about that in the past, maybe on our online presence session we did, but we absolutely need an updated biography about ourselves, who we are, why we're real estate agents, whatever it entails. We certainly need that, and that'll be a part of this listing presentation as well. Just, if you happen to have folks and obviously this is the extreme, but it's just to show like exactly who you may have in your corner. Who is my photographer, who's our attorney, who's our banker, and it can be, multiple folks. You can see one of them is 2 lenders, but just kind of a page to build a team. It can be, it can be the broker, it can be our office admin. I mean, there's a lot that can go into this page to just kind of say, hey, this is who I have behind me to help, you help me sell this house throughout the process. That's just an idea. Some of these pages are just ideas to, to formulate this whole this whole thing with the seller, that I'm a professional real estate agent that can do the job for you. So, if you have any reviews, you can, add a page for those. And it's just, copy and paste. So current listings and office listings. So we, some pages can be valuable at certain times. So, if I'm going on a Chautauqua listing, and at the time I go, I don't have a listing and the office doesn't have a listing, I'm probably not going to add, I might just hide this page for this presentation because I don't need to say, well, we don't have a listing in Chautauqua right now. I want to, but if we have 4 or whatever, you better believe I want to like, hey, look, we're active in Chautauqua. And obviously, I think maybe even the next page is, but, so maybe I don't have a current one, but I'm going to list off the properties I've sold in Chautauqua or Lakewood or whatever market, lakefront, condos, whatever it is, whatever pages I can have at a certain point to show value, the better. So I might not use every one of these pages, but this is in PowerPoint. So if you just hide a page, it's just, obviously it just won't be seen. You won't be able to print it out. And then it's there because maybe you'll use it next time. But, active listings and sold transactions, always a bonus if it works for you. So, just really, this is just a great page for the brokerage. So, Richard, I see you're on. It'd be great if we kind of maybe had a page like this. Maybe we do, but if we could fill in a page similar to this and just like share it with the agents, because then everyone just kind of, and then you can make it your own or what, but if we kind of had a page that showed, hey, this is Real Estate Advantage, this is who we are, this is how many properties we sold, that might be valuable.
Yeah, we could do that, Wayne. We do have a manual or a physical presentation folder in the office that we've handed out. But I mean, I'd always like something, I've always, as far as like to do it you'd have to bring your laptop to do it on a PowerPoint at a house. What program is it that you're using? Oh, you're using PowerPoint, you said.
Yeah, it's just PowerPoint. So, so ideally you have a hard copy and one on, in PowerPoint that you either do on an iPad or even a laptop, because if you go in with a hard copy to let's just say a 30-year-old, and I'm kind of just throwing that out because they're going to be like, excuse me, like first of all, you used paper, like, so you just got to be prepared, like for your client. So having a PDF copy, first of all, that you can email or whatever. So it's just kind of a thought to have one on the computer as an option.
Can you email that to the front desk, and then I'll ask Gail to print it out for us and then anybody that I guess if they can keep it on a PDF, you can just take it up on your iPad or laptop and take it with you and do it that way, right? If you want
Yeah,
to.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's really the ideal situation is you have both with you, unless you know one way or the other, I mean, like, hey, you go to just because if you go to an older couple, they're probably each going to want to have a hard copy in front of them, I mean, so
Right.
you just kind of need to know your client, but having sort of having both.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it's nice to have the hard copy and you just leave it with them on the table after you mark it up a little bit and just leave it with them.
Yeah, yeah,
You
exactly,
know,
exactly.
like you leave
Yes.
statistic sheets or whatever. You know, I've done that before, but I mean, that would be nice too about the 10 things we do. And yeah, I
Yeah,
think that would be good.
yeah. I think it might be advantageous for us to kind of put a digital copy of the presentation together that an agent could tweak or add a page to, so then they kind of don't have to start from scratch, especially any maybe newer agents that are coming in or come to us type thing. So
Yeah, when you email that, Wayne, if you could just copy me on it, that'd be great. And
yeah,
whoever
I
else,
definitely will.
and then whoever wants one can get it from the front desk.
Yeah, for sure, I will. All right, so yeah, so this
Okay, yeah, I was a
page.
little,
Oh, go ahead.
no, nothing. You go ahead, Wayne. I'm good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So this page is just, again, an agent page. This is who I am. This is the brokerage page. This is who we are. This is who I have behind my back. So whatever this page looks like, obviously, some, offices, whatever, but, hey, we have two offices. So, like you want to say there's two offices because then hey, I want a Bemis agent. Hey, we got an office in Bemis. Like that's all, like that matters sometimes to folks. Like, oh, you're in Jamestown or whatever. It's just so strange, but they just
Yeah,
feel like, the office location matters. But hey, so let's put we have two offices. So it can look like this. But the idea is this page, just the data. So take this page and go, all right, we'll do years in business. We'll do number of agent, like I'll just take some of this data and kind of make my own page.
mhm.
But important for them to know, hey, this is me. Hey, this is my brokerage. This is who I work for. So it's together that we sell it. It's not just me, it's not just
Wayne,
the brokerage. It's
yeah,
together that
Wayne,
we're selling this stuff.
when we get this page on the PDF, like when we see it says market served, I mean, can each agent customize that, or is that something you'd have to do, or because I don't
Yeah,
think you
so
have
ideally
a tab.
we potentially just recreate this page. So, in
Okay, like on
Canva
Canva.
yeah, in Canva and kind of make it our own. We obviously change the colors to red and black, but you do it once and
Okay,
we have it. So,
right,
so it's just kind of it's really figuring out like, well, what do we want to put on this page? But,
right,
what's important? If I have one page to sell me, what goes on it? And if I have one page to sell the brokerage, what goes on it? And and it can be numbers, it can be community involvement, it can be whatever, but I think both of them together are huge when we're in front of a client, because it's
yeah.
not just me, it's not me. I could be in the business 30 years and have sold what it still matters who I'm with in the brokerage too, so it's definitely a combination. And then I think we have a couple more pages
Okay, yeah,
here.
that helps.
So this is kind of
Mhm.
a page to again continue to show. Now this can be a page for you. This could be a page, for the brokerage. It could be a combined page. So if and it can be the last year. It can be since you've been selling. Just kind of what are your numbers? So I like I said, I've been asked, have you ever sold a $700,000 property? And I'm sure, I don't know if I've ever been asked, like, what's your average days on market? But man, if I walk in and actually um, talk about numbers, like another agent's not gonna. So if I'm one of three, I can promise you, if I know my satisfaction rate based on reviews or my list to sale or my average sale, whatever, if I know these numbers, I promise you that another agent's not going to come prepared, and I'll stand out in a client's eyes, in a seller's eyes, like just that I know them, that I'm willing to share them, that they're, obviously I am going to use numbers that are valuable to me. I'm not going to have a days on market at 180 if I've had a couple, whatever, if I've had a bad streak. So but I didn't, there's nowhere on here that says, hey, these were my numbers last year, hey, these were my, I mean, you could, but the idea is if we can look at us and the brokerage in what stands out. So there could be, a brokerage number that says we sold, $1 billion in real estate last year, like whatever number, so it's just a neat page, but I promise you some homework, this page will stand out, and I can take the time to talk to them. I can explain each one, but in reality, just knowing knowing the market, knowing what the brokerage is doing can be very valuable in a seller's eyes. And then I think we just have a few more. So, in the corner, so this in the corner is just something like, it's really just there, like, hey, I'm in your corner. It's just a piece behind it. So just kind of think about having something, your tagline or something throughout this. So throughout your presentation, your headshot, the brokerage logo, if you have a logo, and then your tagline throughout. So, think about that every page, every other page, wherever you can do it, to just be like me, this brokerage, me, all the way through. And then, just, a marketing plan, you can put your marketing plan in here. So get your home ready. So that's just a page that we can put, just kind of put together to create, getting your steps to get your home ready. So again, we're more than just, selling homes. We're like getting it ready to sell. What can we do to get you more money? What can I do to sell it, to sell it quick, to get the most money in the end, by what I do when I'm marketing it, to get the most folks through it. It's more than just, I'm going to snap some pictures, put it in the MLS, put sign ER. So any pages that we can show, that will get us there, the better. And then just leveraging attractive buyers. So again, I'm gonna kind of go through these a little quicker, but it's just something that we can, and I'm gonna probably start working on it, but we can build this a presentation in a PDF with even what we have, and maybe add some pages to it to kind of show what we do, and that we do a little bit more for our clients than an average agent. And again, if we have this conversation, if we actually go through it, the idea is that the agent behind us, or the other agent that they're going to talk to, goes in there unprepared, or doesn't talk as thoroughly as we did, or doesn't talk about some number, something. So it's all about us standing out. And then just, hey, what are we going to do when we start showing it? I'm going to provide, I'm going to post on social, and I'm going to get, maybe I got some clicks, maybe I, did some things. Again, whatever pages we can add to, set ourselves apart in the seller's eyes, because we do a little bit more than the average agent. So, and then just, determining, where it's, having this conversation, obviously part of the CMA conversation, part of the pricing strategy, goods and bads, but actually sometimes having pages like this, a lot of folks love visuals. So if they get to this page and maybe we've started talking about it, maybe we haven't, but what's good? What's good on this page, what I say what's bad, but what's a little negative for our house, on this page. Sometimes it starts the conversation about, well, the neighbor's house, I know it sold for 30,000 more than I'm thinking for yours, but man, they just put 40,000 into a kitchen and baths and, you know, whatever. I mean, it just, it brings up the conversation that we sort of need to have. We know we need to have, but sometimes this leads to it. And it's maybe a little bit more easier than us just coming at them. So again, think about that in our, you know, in our presentation, in our conversation, and as we're prepping and delivering our presentation. And I think there's just a few more pages here. So pricing strategy, again, you know, this is kind of a cool page that, you know, just starts showing us. So if, you know, if we go over market value, you know, our buyer pool shrinks. And if we come down a little bit, you know, as we come down, like, hey, I said 300,000, you know, pretty confident with it. We, you know, whatever, that's what the market's telling us. You know, but as we go up in price to try it, or, you know, whatever they're thinking, the seller, you know, our buyer pool shrinks. So again, just kind of a neat page to maybe help us with that pricing strategy. You know, just preparing pricing, customized marketing strategy, just another page to show, you know, what you do. And then, you know, power of real estate advantage. Again, we probably have talked about that because one of the pages prior, well, the real estate advantage page, maybe the numbers page has some real estate advantage, you know, that we, you know, that we're, you know, we sell in Lakewood, we sell on the lakefront, we sell in Chautauqua, you know, whatever that is, whatever those numbers are. So this is kind of, you know, just another potential page in your presentation to show your value, show the brokerage's value.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
go ahead, Wayne.
Oh, yeah. So just so when I talked earlier about, you know, this may be a page you use. Obviously, you're not going to use this page if it's negative, but you know, so percent of asking price received. So you simply figure that out. You know what you had a house list for. You know what it sold for. You add them all up. You do a division. You get a percentage. And then we can find out in the reports that we get from the MLS what the market is. So we know the market, so if the market's like, hey, they price their properties high to get the listing and then they sell for, 20% less. Well, I just price it right and get what and just get my number. So, so any stats you have, whether it's, on your page, on the brokerage page, or on the page that just shows, that page that just had the blocks with your reviews or whatever, so now this is just another way to put something in front of them to say, hey, I'm better than the market. I perform better than the market. So if that's asking price, if that's, whatever stat it is, it's really just another way for you to, to just show, I'm worth, I'm worth trusting. I'm gonna sell your home. This is my results since I've been, licensed for the last year, for the last 5 years, whatever works. So, so kind of think about just adding pages to, again, just continue to show your value. Faster. So days.
I was going to say earlier, Wayne, that.
Go ahead, Richard.
Oh, no, I was just going to say earlier, when I first got in the business, I used to use listing presentations all the time. And they really do work because you don't miss a beat, where then sometimes you get a little used to just going in and just going on your own and you're going to cover everything. Then you walk out, you kick yourself, you say, gee, I forgot to bring this up, or I forgot to bring that up. So the presentations, no matter how long you've been in the business, the visual ones, they always do help.
Yeah, because so I appreciate you saying that, because then it's sort of twofold with that. So if I take it and the person is like essentially blah blah blah, let's just let's just move forward and like a bonus. But if I go through it, I'm likely, I'm not going to forget something. I'm not going to assume they know that I do this or I do that or I work for this brokerage. So nothing worse than the thought of, so I had this happen once and said it would never happen again. went through, kind of went through a presentation, left, we're like, oh, that went well, didn't get the listing, had a conversation like, hey, I'm just curious, just trying to get better. What happened? Like, well, they said that they did like two things. And I was like, well, I do those two things, but I didn't tell them I did them. So I literally just assumed that they know that I, whatever, I can't remember what it was now, but again, the idea, man, like I don't ever, like, if you want me to go, I'll go through every single page every single time to make sure I show my complete value, and that you don't assume, or the next agent doesn't come in and do their full one. In the seller's like, well, they just showed me more. Well, I'm going to show you everything I got every time, unless you say, yeah, let's just sign, and that's just a bonus. So I appreciate you saying that, Richard, because just think about that. Just think about, forgetting that, that we use this one tool, or that you take professional pictures, or that you do a drone, like whatever that one piece is, we want them to know everything every time. And then just finishing this, obviously, competitive market analysis. So, we've talked about this. We may have done it by this point. We may not have. Maybe we need to revisit it. This page might, if we're going to talk about it, maybe this page goes to the front of the presentation where we want to talk. Maybe it stays towards the back. But again, just a page to make sure, that we've talked about price, that we're comfortable with price. Talk about the comps, talk about why this one's, sold for higher, why this one sold for lower, whatever it is. It's more than just handing them a CMA and just them seeing a number like, oh, it's 300. No, it's like, well, why is it 300? Why'd my neighbor's house sell? Why'd my friend who lives across town, whatever we need to hear them all out with those. So sort of having this page somewhere in the presentation, just, again, like Richard said, just lends us to have the conversation, to make sure we have it. We didn't forget it. We didn't just assume, oh, I sent you the CMA. It said 300. I thought you just got it. No, do you have any questions? Do you have any, anything you want to talk about regarding that CMA?
Yeah.
And then just, market conditions, average sales price. So anything you can do. Last page, just commitment to service. So, kind of in the slide that said, reiterate your value prop. This is kind of it. This is kind of like, this is the last page of the presentation. Whatever's on your last page, it's basically you sort of, first of all, any questions, of course, but in reality, do you need anything else from me? Have I shown, do you have any questions about anything I've talked about, anything that I didn't talk about? I'm here for you. Again, my job is all you. List your house, sell your house, get the most I can for your house. This last little piece. So, and again, you could type it out, but in reality, like, I just need to know it. This is sort of my 30-second, maybe a minute elevator pitch to finish off the whole presentation. And I can't get here and just go, well, so I just need to have the 30 seconds, the 60-second chat just down in my head. I just need to have it and just know what I'm going to say. And then, of course, shut up, listen to them, and let them go. So that, and lastly, be prepared and practice. I can't stress enough, knowing getting your presentation done, being comfortable with it, and then knowing it inside and out. Before you turn a page, before you flip a page, before you go to the next page in the presentation piece, know what the next page is and just start talking about it. So that comes from just practice in building confidence in your presentation. So yeah, good advice. I know I said to shut up and listen, so I'm actually going to do that for a minute. Anybody have any questions, any thoughts on that?
No, if you could just email that to us, Wayne, and then we'll work on trying to personalize it to the office. And if it's like a 5 or 6 page presentation, people can just take that and if you don't need the presentation, you find you don't need it halfway through because you got the listing, then you shut up and get the listing.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But I use
Exactly.
that, I use the listing as, I mean, I use the presentation, it still, it gives you life at the listing. Or in front of the people to stay there and keep talking if you need to keep talking. You know, versus, I've always found visual presentations to be, and people comment on them too. They think it's more professional.
Yeah, agreed. And having it, sending it to them prior or leaving one or emailing it to them after, however it happens, you know, a
Right.
large, there's a NAR stat, but there's a large portion of the folks that will go through it prior or go back through it after, if you know, if they're that type of person. So that's just another piece, is to have it and then leave it in like, well, I didn't just fly through it for me, like, here's a copy. So if you have any questions after, look through it, let me know. So that's a good point as well, Richard.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining today, and hope you guys have a great rest of the day.
Hey, Wayne, last thing.
Yeah.
Last thing, what's the next topic?
What was that, Richard? You cut out for a second.
Yeah. What's the next topic?
Oh, working with investors. So
Okay.
we're just gonna chat about, you know, some of the tools that are out there, finding investors, working with them, just kind of have a conversation about it. So.
Okay. Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Thanks, everyone.